with me if you want to live. You just don't turn it off!
The Delta Force was released in 1986, directed by Manayam Golan, and starring Chuck Norris, Lee Marvin, Martin Balsam, and Robert Forster. Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm back. I know it's been a long time since you guys have seen me. In short, guys, last month I was sick with pneumonia, and it just took me a long time to get over it. But I'm back now, and today we're going to do a review of the Delta Force. We're going to be doing some canon films, throughout the summer. Also going to do some films from the 90s, do a few reviews in there. There's going to be some big rankings coming up. I don't want to ramble too much, but thank you for your incredible patience and, a lot of good stuff coming up. And let's talk some Chuck Norris and the Delta Force. Pretty simple movie, pretty simple story. Some terrorists, they hijack a plane and they send the Delta Force in to resolve this situation. Now, I've been watching Chuck Norris movies for a long time, but it's funny how I still haven't seen them all. This was basically a first-time watch. As a kid and a teenager, I tried to get into the Delta Force, but it just didn't work. I found it very slow and very hard to get through. And it is a backloaded movie for me. The back half of this movie is just awesome with action. I love where it goes. I love a lot of things about the action scenes, the way they're shot and all that. But it's kind of funny as a kid, and I just couldn't get past that first hour of this movie. Now, in saying that, if you're like me, you got to stick it out because you do get heavily rewarded. The first half is very political. I would say the second half is just a very good action flick. We got the Colonel played by Lee Marvin, and we got the Captain, which is Chuck Norris. And Lee Marvin was really sick at this point, and originally they wanted Charles Bronson, I think. Charles Bronson was going to play Lee Marvin's character, which I think would have been pretty awesome during the canon film era. To see the two guys that did canon films the most in the same movie together, kind of pretty awesome, you know what I mean? I think that would have been pretty cool to see. But this, again, I wouldn't say it's your typical Chuck Norris movie. It's not like your Invasion USA where Chuck Norris shows up, kicks ass, and this goes from action set piece to action set piece, and this does what he does. And I love that about Chuck Norris. I don't need a lot for me to enjoy Chuck Norris. It's his persona I love so much. It's his, that real male toughness he has, when he's on screen. Just give me that, right? I would say it's more of an ensemble cast. You get a lot of big names in here, like Shelley Winters, Martin Balsam, George Kennedy. A lot of people in this from, the older generation. We start this film off with a mission that's gone wrong. And soldiers are dying, and Chuck Norris goes in, he rescues one of the soldiers, and then he's had enough. This is where he quits. The military, the government, whoever who are planning these missions, don't listen to the actual soldiers saying, this is a bad idea and everything, and just people get killed, and this is where Chuck Norris has had enough. So he quits, and 5 years later, we get these terrorists hijacking a plane, and Chuck Norris comes back to the team and does what he does, kicks some ass, takes out the trash. So he really is a character where it's in his nature to help people. It's in his nature to lead his team, but he doesn't want this to go like last time. He doesn't want people dying for nothing. So I guess you could say that in his arc, this team, they go in, they take care of business. Not everything goes as planned, and they get the job done. And with Chuck Norris's arc, he helped a lot of people. He saved a lot of people. The team saves a lot of people. They're all cheering and everything. And then thematically, we get sacrifice. We get this soldier who dies, but I just kind of like at the end there where the Delta Force carries him away, and why we see all the people who were rescued from this plane, cheering and, blessing America and singing everything. And Chuck Norris, you can kind of see that, yeah, this was worth it. The sacrifice was worth it. This is what we do. We go in there and we make things right. Now, like I said, this movie is heavy loaded on the back end. I do find this movie does not need to be 2 hours and 10 minutes long or whatever. I think you could have cut this down to an hour and 45 minutes easily, maybe even an hour and a half. The first half of the movie really is them hijacking the plane. Now, I do appreciate them trying to get you to see all the characters, who they are, and all that kind of stuff. But I find, for me, I still didn't get to know them that much more. I do a little. I appreciate the attempt, but could have been executed a lot better. You could have threw on a lot more tension in there. Like the first half had the potential of being a very slow burn, tension filled thing, then pushed it into the action You know what I mean? Like they do. Now, there is a couple cool things that I did like on the plane, like, you know, how vicious the terrorists are. Like, they're not messing around. They started singling out the Jewish people on the plane, which just adds this level of fear, I thought. So that was pretty good. But I just think you could have edited and got the pacing locked down a lot more, tighten that script up a lot more. Once they go to Beirut, I think it's Beirut, and they have this big battle sequence and everything like that. And it goes on for quite some time. It's pretty awesome, man. I'm not gonna lie, I freaking loved it. But do you really want to put a movie on and have to fast forward to that part? So it's really weak on the first half for me. I get how other people would like it, but for me, I found it very weak. You get this team going in, you get them kicking ass, you get the explosions, you get Chuck Norris fighting at the end with the martial arts, you get big, bombastic, you know, gunfights and stuff. You know, it actually, watching this end action sequence kind of reminded me of what Stallone did in the original Expendables, where at the end there it was really big with lots of explosions, lots of gunfire. I wonder if he was tapping into Delta Force there at the end of Delta Force, because it's really big and bombastic like that. We got Chuck Norris's good car chases. We got him freaking sliding down wires. Just everything you could want out of the action Chuck Norris, I think, really works. There was one really cool moment of tension where they sneak into the fortress, where they go through the water, they go through the sewer, and when they pop up, you could see all the soldiers everywhere, and they're trying to be desperate to be quiet. And I thought they did do a good job there with a little bit of tension there. I just wish there was more of it, to be honest. But the real star of this movie is that music. Alan Silvestri, man. Back to the Future, Forrest Gump, Predator. I love this score. This movie reminded me of a live version of G.I. Joe, especially with that score pumping through it. Very triumphant, very American. You know, all those soundscapes really get you excited, get your heart pumping. Really love the score here. The star, the most memorable thing of the movie, I think. After you watch this movie, you're humming it and everything like that. But the Delta Force is certainly going to whet your appetite as an action fan. It's definitely, you know, it's not the worst Chuck Norris movie, I would say. I don't think it's the top tier Chuck Norris movie either. But I had a good time. I had a good time with this movie once you got past a certain part of the movie. I'm going to give the Delta Force a B-. What about you guys? Let me know in the comments what you think of the Delta Force. Let's have a great discussion, a healthy conversation on the Delta Force and Chuck Norris being a badass and all that stuff in the comments below. And I thank you again, guys, for watching as always, and thank you for your incredible patience on this channel. It does not go unnoticed, and I really appreciate you all. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema. I will see you next time, and I will see you in the movies. Cheers.